So we came across this video, 2026 Top 10 Most Extreme Performance ADV Tourers. And, we were excited, we were ready for a deep dive into horsepower, crazy new tech, all the good stuff. But what we found, well, it was something else entirely. This. This is a direct quote from the transcript. Seriously, it's not a glitch, it's not a typo, it's just a wall of the word heat. Now, at first glance, you think, okay, this is broken, it's just nonsense, but we don't think it is. In fact, we think this might be the most important, most honest motorcycle review of the next decade. So that's the big question, right? What is actually going on here? Is this some weird art project, or is it a secret message about the future of these incredible machines? Let's dig in and figure it out. To solve this mystery, we have to start at the very beginning. I'm talking fundamental science, the stuff that makes every gas-powered bike go. We need to talk about the actual physics of power. And it really all boils down to this. It's a brutal, simple truth. Power equals heat. This isn't just an idea, it's a law of physics. Every single time an engineer decides to chase more horsepower, more speed, they are, by definition, creating more heat. You just can't escape it. I mean, think about the name. We call it an internal combustion engine, but a much more accurate name would be a heat engine. That's really what it is. Its whole job is to create tiny, controlled explosions to make things move. And a massive, unavoidable side effect of that is just a ton of waste heat. And you can see it perfectly right here in the engine cycle. You suck in fuel and air, you squeeze it, you light it on fire, that's the boom. That gives you the power stroke that spins the wheels and makes you go fast. But then there's step 4. The final critical piece is you have to get all that super hot leftover gas and energy out of there. That's your waste heat, and it has to go somewhere. And here is the absolutely wild part. How much of the energy in the gasoline you put in your tank is just lost as heat instead of actually pushing you forward? About 70%. Let that sink in. The huge majority of the fuel you pay for is just to make the engine hot. The forward motion is almost a side effect. Okay, so let's keep going because this isn't just a problem for the machine. All that waste heat has a huge impact on the one component we often forget about, the actual human being sitting on the bike. So let's jump back to that crazy transcript for a second. Hidden in that long, repetitive string of words is one little phrase that's a massive clue. Heat up here. Suddenly, this isn't an abstract engineering problem anymore. This is a person, a rider, telling you where they're feeling all that energy we just talked about. And this is a really big deal for the bikes in the video, adventure tourers. They have these huge, powerful engines, and they're usually wrapped in a lot of bodywork and fairings for wind protection. But the unintended result? It basically creates an oven that funnels all that engine heat directly onto the rider's legs, the seat, and their body. And the effects are really serious. This isn't about just feeling a little warm. This kind of intense heat leads to major physical fatigue. That tanks your concentration, which makes riding way less safe. You're fighting dehydration, you're just miserable and uncomfortable on a long trip. And in some extreme cases, you can even get actual burns from the bike. It's a huge ride-ending problem. All right, so we've got the physics down and we understand the human cost. So let's put it all together and finally solve the mystery of that bizarre transcript. Here it is. This is the big reveal. Let's stop thinking of that transcript as a mistake. What if we start thinking of it as the single most important message? What if the person who made it is trying to tell us that the only thing that's going to matter in a few years is heat? So here's the shift. For decades, the goal was so simple. More horsepower, bigger numbers, faster bikes. But we've kind of hit a tipping point. The new reality for 2026 isn't about finding more power. It's about figuring out what on earth to do with a staggering amount of heat that power creates. Heat management is now the #1 engineering challenge. And this chart just lays it all out. As that engine power bar keeps climbing higher and higher, look what happens to the rider comfort bar. It plummets, all because of the heat. And that forces everyone's priorities to change. The main focus isn't just the engine anymore. It's about managing that engine's biggest, most problematic byproduct. And that's our answer. That transcript that looked like nonsense wasn't nonsense at all. It was a prophecy. The defining story of the most extreme performance bikes of the future isn't how fast they are. It's the desperate, all-consuming war that engineers are fighting against the extreme heat these machines produce. So, we'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. As the horsepower numbers get bigger and bigger, and the physical price of that performance, the heat, the discomfort gets more and more real, are we pushing the human rider past their breaking point? In this race to build the ultimate machine, we have to ask ourselves, are we accidentally engineering the person right out of the experience?